Robert Bannon.
You know him from things like Saturday Night Live, The Real Housewives of New Jersey. Currently on tour, so he's an actor, a musician. He also has his own podcast as well on YouTube called The Round Table. Well, before we jump into that, let's hear a word from today's sponsor.
Are you looking for clean energy without jitters and bad side effects? No sugar, artificial sweeteners, or preservatives? With a good source of energy from green tea and B12? Then look no further. Make sure you visit pureboost.com and check them out today. We use this every day. It's our drink of choice to give us that good pick-me-up in the morning.
All right, welcome back to today's show. Today on the podcast, we have a very special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody. My name is Robert Bannon. It's so nice to be here. I'm excited to talk to you, Joshua. Joshua, where are you?
I'm in Roanoke, Virginia.
Roanoke, Virginia, like the island where the people went missing? Or
no?
Okay. In real life, I teach fifth grade history, and we talk about Roanoke Island and the colonists that went missing. And I was like, Joshua, are you one of the missing colonists? That's you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a lot of things. I grew up in Richfield Park, New Jersey. I am an actor. I'm a singer. I host an online show as well as you do, Josh. And I do all sorts of things. And like I said, during the day, I teach fifth grade science and social studies. And I've been really lucky to be able to. I'm a recording artist. My album is out. Well, we might as well promote it. My album is out. It's called Unfinished Business. You can listen to it on wherever you listen to music. So I do a lot of things. I don't know if I'm good at any of them, but I do a lot. And I'm an artist. At the end of the day, I'm an artist, and I love art, and I love creating something and seeing other people create something. So I know that's a very vague answer, but I'm sure we'll get into more details.
Definitely. So tell me, I saw that, with you being an actor, what have you been in?
Good question. I have done a lot of musical theater. So I've done Rent, and I was Roger in Rent, and I have done We Will Rock You, which was all Queen music. I toured in My Big Gay Italian Wedding, which is really ridiculous and fun. I did Saturday Night Live for a couple seasons as all sorts of parts there. So from everything from playing fake violin for Harry Styles to playing the fake bass with Kenan Thompson to sketches with everyone from Scarlett Johansson to the Jonas Brothers to Emma Thompson to Dua Lipa. Can I tell you how that came about?
Absolutely. I'm very interested to hear it.
All right. So I'll get to why I stopped being an actor for a long period of time. I went to school. Long story. I went to school for musical theater, and I was at Juilliard at Lincoln Center, and I got really sick in high school, and I ended up having to be homeschooled for like 4 years. And while I was homeschooled for all of these years, I kind of gave up the business and put it on the side, went to college to become a teacher, got my master's degree, got my principal's license, taught in New Jersey. And about 15 years later, at 33 years old, decided that I wanted to go back to what I had loved when I was in high school and start singing again. And I went to a 2-year acting program called William Esper, which is a Meisner training program in New York City. And while I was at William Esper, I got an email from Backstage magazine, which is, if you're an actor, Backstage is online, and they put auditions. It used to be a newspaper if you're above a certain age, like I am, because I'm 39. So back when I was 18, there was no internet. So or it was there, but it was the AOL disc with the. So I get an email from Saturday Night Live casting director, and I think it's spam, because why would Saturday Night Live reach out to me? And they said, we are looking for someone with blonde hair and blue eyes. We saw your profile, and we would like you to tape Saturday Night Live tomorrow. So I was going to delete it because I obviously did not believe that it was real. And then I Googled her name, and apparently it was the casting director. So I looked up her email, and it was an NBC email address. So I said, okay, let me email back my phone number. She called, and she asked me to send a headshot of what I looked like that day. And she said, we can't use you because we're looking for someone who has a crew cut. We need someone whose head is shaved. Joshua, you would have got the part. You would have got it. So I then end up turning around and saying, I'll go to Supercuts right now and have my head shaved if I could do Saturday Night Live. And she was like, no, you can't. And I said, no, I am doing the show. I will go and shave my head right now. And she said, let me talk to the director. And because I did something I didn't think it was ridiculous, but because I did that, they remembered me. So when I said to her, before I go get this haircut, are you going to remember me? Am I going to be able to do the show more than once? Because this was a taped piece. I was like, can I be in the studio one day? I want to see how this show works. I grew up watching the show. And I did 24 episodes. All because I shaved my head.
Hey. That's crazy.
Yes. See, you just sometimes have to find a way in and take advantage of the moment and differentiate yourself from everyone else. And if that meant a $15 haircut, then let's go. That's what it takes.
So tell me, what was it like working for SNL?
I called it the best part-time job in the world because I was still able to teach. We would rehearse Thursday night. They would send you a message on Wednesday if they needed you. You would not know what you were doing. You would show up there on Thursday. They would show you the sketch that you were in. You would rehearse it twice. They would talk to you about wardrobe. It was always fun when they dressed you because you would show up and your outfit would be ready. If you were a soldier or if you were a period piece, they would always have a costume for you. But if you were just a reporter or if you were just a person in, a jury in a court case or whatever, you would have to bring your own clothes. And that was always like a pain because they'd be like, wear a suit or wear a sweater or look like you're at a football game. And it was always fun when it was like, we'll have you dressed like a soldier. You're in the Revolutionary War. We have a costume for you. And then Saturday, you're there from 12 o'clock in the afternoon until, the sketch airs that night. And they treat you really well. They feed you and you watch the show and you hang out and you meet a lot of other actors. You don't spend a lot of time with the cast of the show, only when you're on the floor of the set. And you have to act very professional. There's a story. Harry Styles was in 2 sketches that I was in with Harry Styles. I was going to say with me. Harry Styles was with me. No, I was with Harry Styles. And one of them involved, we were airplane passengers, and he was the pilot. And there was a student, a young girl, who was she played my fake daughter on. And so it's me and her sitting in a plane seats together. And since she was underage, she had like a super, I don't know the word, not a nanny. It wasn't her parents. It was like an au pair or a guardian. They hire someone to go on set with the kid. And Harry Styles came out and said hello to everyone and just said, hi, and, thanks for doing this. And the guardian was like, can I please have a hug? And he did it. But you're not allowed to fan out. Like they tell you it's a professional environment. They're working. The show has to go on live at 11:30 Eastern time. And they don't have time you're supposed to act professional. So she got into trouble. So I have all of these memories and moments, but the only moments that you can see are the moments that are on television because you're not allowed to have your phone and and I tried to be very chill. But people like Kenan Thompson and Chris Redd and Cicely Strong, who just had her last episode, Leslie Jones when she was on the show, they're all it's a really nice place to work, but you also realize the incredible pressure that they are on because that show is live. It's in a smaller studio than you think. Those cameras move, those microphones move during that commercial break. And if you're ever in the cold open, the beginning where it's the live from New York, it's Saturday night, when they count down from 10 to go live, as they get to 4, 3, they tell you there's 8 million people watching, so don't mess this up. And that's when you realize these sketches live on, some of them, forever. I was in the White House press corps when Melissa McCarthy did all of the Sean Spicer press interviews where she was and they, drove the podium around and threw things at the press and whatever. They have 12, 15 million views. You don't want to mess up when you're going to be seen by that many people. So there is a pressure. And the one sketch that I'm in the most is called Electric Shoes. Sandra Oh was the host. I play a bass player. I have this wig of this short bob haircut. We were like a 60s band. I'm playing bass. And the monologue stage where they come out and do their opening, there's 2 stairs and then there's the audience. They had us walk the 2 stairs and walk down the center aisle of the studio right into camera. And the stage manager said, you can't look at the stairs because you have to look at the camera, but do not fall down the stairs. And you don't realize the pressure of it until that moment where you're like, please don't fall down the stairs. Please don't fall down the stairs. But there's also like an autopilot that goes on and you feel supported and you just do the best you can. Long answer, Joshua.
Oh, no, it's perfect. What was it like? Did you get to meet Lorne Michaels, and what was he like?
He is a scary person. He's brilliant, but he is always lurking. He watches the show from underneath. The audience is raised. When you watch the show, you know, there's some seats on the bottom, but the audience is raised. And underneath the seats, there's an open space. There's a quick change booth for the host. And he sits in a director's chair with his crew and watches the show on a monitor. And every commercial break, he comes out and looks around and talks to the cast quietly in their ear. And he's a very intimidating presence. He is the boss. So I never personally interacted with him, but you would see him lurking around. And you think it's glamorous, but it's in 30 Rock. It's in Rockefeller Center. If you've ever been to see the Christmas tree or gone on the tour or whatever, it is an office building that is converted into studios. So they share a bathroom. So if I went to the bathroom, you know, Alec Baldwin would be in there using the bathroom, or Lorne Michaels would be using the bathroom. Like it's not as they share dressing rooms. It's not the way we picture it sometimes being, because it's such an institution and so famous. But they feed you well, and I love food, so that worked. And it was always fun to do the show because I wouldn't know if you saw me or what I was doing. But when I would leave, I would do the sketch, pack my bag, and leave. You know, I'd look at my phone, and people who did not know I was on, or my family, of course, would stay up and watch. It was always something special. It's not something that I don't do anymore. I would do it. I've just been very grateful that after doing it for 3 seasons and doing 24 episodes of the show, Saturdays, if I have another job, if I'm singing somewhere, or if I have another commitment, I just don't feel like there's a lot of room for growth, because a lot of people have asked me, like, when will you start speaking on the show? When will you be on? It doesn't work that way. You know, their cast is the main cast is hired through a very different process than what I did. And they go through a lot of vetting and stand up and improv training. And they are people who come out of the comedy clubs. I'm coming from the acting side, so I'm just filling the voids that they don't have someone to fill. There was never a moment where someone's going to say, hey, you're the new host of Weekend Update. You know, that's not the way that it worked. So I feel like they paid me. There's parts that I get residual checks for. So when you stream it, thank you, because we get paid as actors. But I've kind of reached the glass. There's not much more room to go there, but it is fun. So if they ever need me, or if I ever am free, I would be there in a minute, because it's a fun time just to be a fly on the wall.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could almost, like I was always curious, because when you watch documentaries like the one they did on Chris Farley and John Belushi and all that, you see how he interacts with some of the people. And then you see some of the production, but it really doesn't go into great deal of depth.
No, and the parts that I always found the most fascinating about it, because I don't see the writing and I don't see I don't want to talk badly about it because I love it. But it's show business, and it's a business, and it is show business. A lot of it is fake than what it looks like on TV, and it's cold. It's a cold environment, meaning they're not there to hold your hand and baby you. You're there to do your job, and you're supposed to be the best at what you do. So there's not a lot of you go there, they show up and they have to be on point. And I think there's a lot of pressure, because it's not a show where you could take, I messed up my line, let's do it again. It's the only show that is putting on productions in that way that is completely live. And it's like flying without a net, and it's fascinating, but they're under a lot of pressure. And
I can only imagine.
It's a water cooler moment. You know, when you go to work on Monday, if there's something crazy going on in the world, people tune in to see what Saturday Night Live is going to say about it. And there's a lot of pressure to write. And, we all talk about it through the years. Those years weren't funny. This is my favorite cast member. These years they sucked. These years they were great. That's the world we live in. And politics on Saturday Night Live is such a big thing, and pop culture is such a big thing. And people like the show based on their own political beliefs, depending on who's president of the United States or what's going on, because they feel the show is slanted or biased in a certain way. So it was very interesting to see it and be there through different presidential administrations and different people playing different parts, because the show's energy is different. It is a different type of, it's a fascinating reflection of society, and they're brilliant.
Very cool. Well, that's definitely interesting to hear that from your perspective. So tell me about your singing career and how that is going thus far.
Thank you. I've always sang. I've sung since I'm 10 years old. I've always loved music. I love theater. I love cheesy music. I love fun music. I love music in general. I wanted to be a music business major and work in music, but not have to perform, because I was so afraid to perform. And after those years and going back at 33 years old and going back to acting school and singing again, I decided then that my album was going to be called Unfinished Business, because the first music lesson that I took after taking those years off, I wrote on Instagram, I have some business to finish. It felt like something that I left alone and let die, and I didn't want it to. So it's become the mantra of the show. It's become the mantra of what I do, is that everybody has something that they want to do, but they're afraid to do. And life is so short. And we learned that the past few years with how crazy things have been through COVID, through everything, that we don't always have tomorrow. So we just have, Joshua, you decided to get up one day and start this podcast. And it takes courage to do something like that, because it's unknown and it's scary, and you don't know if you're going to be good at it and what are people going to say, but you did it. And everybody has something that they would like to do. So the album's called Unfinished Business. My one-man show is called Unfinished Business. And it's been done from Maine to New York to LA to all around. And I continue to do it and keep telling my story as much as I can. But the music is very jazz / Broadway / whatever I feel like singing. But it is definitely, good music. No computers, all real musicians. And we did it during the pandemic, like when everything was shut down. Everyone recorded it from home, and they put it together like a puzzle. So if you played guitar and I played drums and I recorded it here and someone else played keyboards, they all did it to a click track so that everyone was on the same tempo, and then layered it together so it sounds like we're all in the same room. But I never met the musicians until way later.
That's awesome. I mean, the pandemic was definitely rough on everyone, and I could only imagine being in the entertainment industry, what that could have been like.
Well, and that's what birthed my version of what you do, which is called the Roundtable. It wasn't always called the Roundtable. When I was putting out the album and we were recording, the person who was helping produce the album said, wouldn't it be fun if we just talked to our friends who are putting out music? So it started as me here in front of this brick wall and talking to my friends who are musicians or artists. And it just continued to grow, and I continued to enjoy it. So I needed a creative outlet, because I loved SNL was gone. Doing concerts was gone. Doing musical theater was gone. So how was I able to be creative during those 2 years was by recording the album and then creating a platform like you've created that I can talk to artists, because I love the journey that everybody's on. I want to sit and talk to you because, this is a journey that I'm genuinely curious to know how people operate and are in the world. And I know that there are a lot of things that I don't know. So I want to hear from other people. And the same with music. When I think like people ask me, how do I record music? How do I get on Broadway? How do I do musical theater? How do I get into television? You have to train. You have to practice and know that you don't know everything, and find people who do. And it's not a weakness to ask for help or for advice. And I sure do. And I think that people need to be, open enough to hear what people are saying and then take what means something to them and let it go. But my music, I ramble forever. Welcome to New Jersey. My music is available to stream. You could go to robertbannon.com, and it's a beautiful album. There's a song about a dad on there and a son, which was written by my dear friends. That is a single, and has a music video that's out. We did a cover of From a Distance, which is the famous Bette Midler song, because we did the album apart. So we did it from a distance, and we made a music video that was how we were showing love during COVID. So it was a lot of Zoom meetings and graduations on Zooms, and we edited it all together. We did something like 75 or 80,000 views of that video. It's been really something that I never expected to take off in that way. The album came out. It was #1 on the adult contemporary Amazon chart. It was something that was a passion project of mine that I just was very lucky that some really special, fun people got on board. And then next year, my Rewind show, which was filmed live in New York, is going to be a live album. And next, we already started working on a Christmas album for 2023. So I keep myself as busy as I can because I feel like I'm breathing when I'm creating something. So it's like a sickness, Joshua. It's terrible. I wish I could just watch Netflix and take a nap, but I sit down and I'm like, what else can we do? Let's create something. Let's do something because it's what I love.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Me doing the podcast, I do this part-time. I run an automotive repair facility during the day. So, during the pandemic, we, much like everybody, we lost a lot of help. So I wasn't able to do this like I was, and I'm just now getting back into the swing of things. But it's almost like you learned how to ride a bike. You didn't do it for a while, but you remember how to do it, and then you're trying to get back into the swing of things.
Agreed. 100%. And you just keep going one step at a time. And someone hit my mirror, Joshua. So I'm driving to Virginia because my side mirror fell off and you need to put it back on.
There you go. So what do you have coming up in the next couple of months or so, whether it be, musical gigs or anything like that?
Well, we are, I'm singing at I'm local to this. I've decided to take the rest of the month off, but my version of taking the month off is I have to work an opening of a Broadway show tomorrow. So I'll be on the red carpet because that's a new thing that I've been doing is I do correspondent work for red carpet. So Paul Bettany, who's Vision in the Marvel movies, is coming to Broadway. So tomorrow we'll be on the red carpet of that show. And then I'm singing at the New Jersey Devils game. So if you're a hockey fan, look for the Devils game on December 28th. And then next year, there'll be a bunch of shows announced, but right now, June 2nd, which is way in advance. But if you're listening and you're going to be in New York City on June 2nd, 54 Below, which is a prime cabaret spot in the middle of Times Square in New York City, we'll be doing a big, giant show June 2nd. So I have more stuff coming. Joshua, it's like one of those things where it's like, it hasn't hit me yet. And I feel like at the end of the year, I've worked hard this year, like you have, we all have. And I feel like as we wind this year down, I've kind of taken I need the week between the holidays to just get and in the quiet of my chillness, we'll come up with what's next.
Very cool. So tell us a little bit of, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You could always watch the Roundtable. It's on YouTube and it's Thursday night. So if you want to see my craziness and my face, every Thursday on YouTube, it's Robert Bannon, and come say hi, come check us out. We interview people and I talk about my life, and I have this thing called my shameless plug where I talk about what's going on and we talk about the weekend. We just have a conversation. So if you want to hang out with me, it's every Thursday at 7:00 Eastern, 4:00 Pacific.
I was going to ask you about the YouTube. Tell us a little bit about that.
Like I said, it started in the pandemic. I was doing it with somebody else who didn't want to do it anymore, and I stopped it because, Joshua, I give you a lot of credit because you're the one-man band here. I know that you do the work, and it's a lot of work. But I've had a lot of fun, and the first week of January will be a year of the Roundtable, and the whole point of the show, it will be our 52nd week. The whole point of the show is just to have artists talk about art. It's just what is a passion of mine, and we've had some fun people, and I'm lucky that I get to talk to people about their journey just like you do. And it's weekly, and it's always on Thursdays, usually, unless I'm busy. And we put out a show that I hope is fun. It's not scandalous. There's no gossip. We just talk about their career and their life. And very much like you, I'm just curious, and I want to know what makes people tick and what make them who they are. So it's called The Roundtable, and it's Thursday nights. And check out the YouTube channel and say hey and hi. And if you want to find me on Instagram, it's at Robert M. Bannon. Say hey and say hi. I'll write you back because I'll be in my classroom board. And I will, no, after teaching the children, of course. And I'm grateful to have the platform to talk to people. It's something that is very moving to me.
There's nothing else like it. Just, to meet somebody and find out about them, find out about their passions career-wise, and see what's next for them. I mean, there's just nothing like it.
Same. I'm fascinated, and I love it, and I'm grateful to be able to do it as I know you are. So people's time is currency and is valuable, and I'm grateful that people would want to spend time with me. And I'm grateful to
Definitely. I appreciate it so much. It sounds like thus far you've had a very fulfilling career, and there's a lot more to come.
I hope so. When people say that to me, to be honest with you, if I can sound corny for a moment, which probably sounds corny for 25 minutes right now, but what I will say is that sometimes, we have to take a step back and look at what we've done, because on the day-to-day, it doesn't feel like it's getting better. And it feels like, I don't know about you, but there are many days where I feel like no one cares about my show. No one wants to watch me talk. And what am I even saying? And why do people want to see me? And that imposter syndrome and this doubt that you put upon yourself. Like, sometimes we're our own worst critics. And I know that I am so hard on myself, and I question, why am I doing it? And why do I care? And I think that we need to give ourselves next year some grace and just be like, just let your freak flag fly, Joshua. Let's just do what makes us happy. And let's not worry about what people say or what we think about. And it will grow, and it's growing, and we're growing just automatically. And work gets more work. And the more we put out and the more effort we put out, the better it's going to be. And so whatever that is for you listening at home, just keep going. Just keep doing it. If it's to travel, to learn a language, to open an Etsy shop, to learn how to change a flat tire, Joshua, because I don't know how. Whatever it is that you are, that you want to do, just do it. Just do it. But there's a lot more I want to do. There's a lot more.
Put the hard work in. Keep your head down and keep going. You never know what's next.
Absolutely, for sure. And I love, your story is. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
It's like you're on my show. Joshua, what do you love? Who else is on the podcast? I looked it up and I saw, but what is your, what do you, are you a movie guy? Are you a TV guy? Are you a music person? What are you drawn to that you want to talk to about on this podcast?
So I'm the type of person that I like talking to anybody who will sit down and chat with me. I've talked to people from just my local town here.
Uh-huh.
I've talked to people in Australia, Sweden, just across the globe. And I'm generally curious to hear people's stories, to find out what their journey was like to do what they do. And, just kind of pick their brain, so to speak, on different careers. And it's always been that thing for me, that being in a sales-driven, customer-oriented business, that you find out a lot about people just by not just asking questions, but just listening to them and kind of feeding off their energy. And I've found that I've met a lot of really, really great people too, like yourself.
Well, back at you. And same. And I feel the same way, and I'm very grateful. And to do it well, Joshua, is not easy. It's an innate talent. So you got this going. So we just got to keep going. That's what we're going to do. But I love the story, because do people see us? Is this just on a podcast, or they are going to see your face and my face?
They'll see it. It'll be on YouTube also.
Perfect. Look, I'm this little queen from New Jersey here, and Joshua is here with his tats and his rings and his mechanicness and all his manliness and his beard, and then I'm gonna be here and tap dance and sing Liza Minnelli. But we're gonna find commonality. We're gonna find commonality together, and we're going to talk about what our passions are, and that's something that's universal. No matter where we are, we all have things that we really love, and that's what I love about talking to other people, as do you. We're just curious. I call it a disease though, because my brother is a cop and my brother works, his 8 till 3 or 4, whatever his shift is as a detective. And then he goes home and he sits on his couch and he eats dinner with his wife and he watches TV, and he does that every day. And then he says, what are you doing? And I have an interview and I want to talk to this person and I want to record this and I want to do that. And I am just always been very driven, and I've always been wanting to just take this world and life and take a bite. Like, I just feel like there's a lot to do, and I want to keep creating stuff. So I'm if you have that disease like I do, I'm sorry, but it also means that we're going to have hopefully a whole legacy of fun stuff that we get to do and explore and learn. So
yeah, and the flip side of that too is not only like myself, you're doing what you love to do, but 15 years down the road, people are going to be able to go back and watch it or listen to it.
Isn't that terrifying? No, it's documenting. We're documenting history. And that's what art, as an artist, that's what art in an acting school, they taught us that in times of struggle or in times of history, what do we have that everyone can look at and see is the art. So if you want to learn about World War II, you could put on a movie and watch and learn about World War II. Those actors and those artists and the writers, they created something that stays and is a part of our history. So what work we're putting out is a part of history, and this will be, we'll be here for whatever and document us. So thank you for documenting me.
Thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it so much.
Of course. And I can't wait to promote it and talk about it on mine. And if you ever have anything to say or need or want to chat, my door is always open. The round table is always open for you, Joshua.